Hello and welcome to day 1 of the 5-day pelvic floor challenge. I am so happy that you're here. Today we are going to start with a little introduction to the pelvic floor. I mean, we need to know where this thing is in our body, what it does for us, in order for us to move forward and understand the things that we can be doing to improve our overall pelvic health. Maybe that's why some of you are here, because you're looking to learn, looking to maybe address some issues that you might have, and hopefully hoping to improve your overall health, including your pelvic health. So I'm just so happy that you're here. I would love to know, before we get started, I want you to drop a comment below. Tell me where you're from. I am from Toronto in Canada, and I am sure that there are some of you here that are from other parts of the country, other parts of the continent, and maybe even other parts of the world. So tell me below, where are you from? Now let's get started. This is a 5-day challenge. So what you're going to expect is 5 to 10 minute videos every day for 5 days, and by the end of it you're going to understand your body, your pelvic floor, and all things pelvic health a little bit more. So meet your pelvic floor. What we're looking at here is a model of a pelvis. This pelvis sits about here in your body. Our pelvic floor is essentially the bottom of our pelvis. It's the bottom right here. It's made up of 3 layers of muscles and connective tissue, nerves and blood vessels, and it has some very important jobs for us. It does so much for us behind the scenes. It helps to open and close the holes to keep things like urine and stool in until we want to let that out. It helps to stabilize and support our body as we move. You can see how close our pelvis is to our spine and to our legs. So our hip joint is right here. So that pelvic floor really helps to provide a little bit of core stability and strength for our body. Our pelvic floor muscles also help to hold up what sits inside our pelvis. So inside our pelvis are our pelvic organs. We'll have our bladder, our uterus if we have one, and our rectum. And our pelvic floor muscles also play a really big role in sexual pleasure and function, and they also act like a pump to help circulate things, fluid, blood, and so on around our body. So you see, a lot of these things that our pelvic floor does for us are things that we don't even consider, because that's how it works. It does all of these things quietly behind the scenes. So taking care of our pelvic health is really important for our day-to-day functions. Now, let's talk about the main topic of today, which is understanding how our breath affects our pelvic floor. You see, breathing is really the foundation to our pelvic health. You might be like, what? How does our breathing have anything to do with what's going on down there? Well, I'm going to tell you. When we breathe, we have a muscle that sits right under our ribs. It's called our diaphragm. When we breathe, our diaphragm needs to lower down in order to allow our lungs to fill with air and so on and so forth. Our diaphragm is really our breathing muscle. Now, that diaphragm or breathing muscle works really closely with our pelvic floor. In fact, our diaphragm and our pelvic floor are like best buddies. They move together. So we have our pelvic floor down here and our diaphragm up here. When we inhale and take a breath in, our diaphragm lowers down, and so does our pelvic floor. When we exhale and let the air out, our diaphragm springs back up and our pelvic floor moves back up slightly as well. So they work together. Inhale, lower, exhale, lift. Inhale, lower, exhale, lift. They move well together. Now, in order to have a pelvic floor that works really well for us, we need those muscles to be able to move from a state of relaxation all the way to a state of being strongly contracted. Kind of like my bicep muscle here, right? My bicep muscle is a muscle that helps me to bend my elbow. We need that muscle to be able to stretch out and be fully relaxed, and we need it to contract and allow my elbow to bend fully, and that muscle is shortened. Our pelvic floor muscles are the same. They need to be able to move through that full range of motion. Now, our breath is what can help us to move that pelvic floor through the full range of motion, especially that relaxing or lowering part. So today we are going to learn how to breathe with our diaphragm, or do something that's known as diaphragmatic breathing. Now, this might be something that is familiar to some of us, and for some of us, this might be an entirely new concept. Learning how to breathe diaphragmatically is really important, not only for our pelvic floor mobility and movement, as I just mentioned, but it's also a wonderful way for us to calm ourselves down. It directly impacts our nervous system. It helps to settle our nervous system down away from that fight or flight part of our nervous system towards the relaxation and resting part of our nervous system. So if you ever feel stressed out or nervous or anxious, being able to slow your breath down and use your diaphragm muscle as you breathe can help you to achieve some settling down or grounding of your nervous system. So there's so many great things that come from learning how to breathe diaphragmatically. It's also really important to be able to breathe this way if we're trying to address pelvic floor issues such as leaks, constipation, difficulty emptying our bladder, painful sex, pelvic pain, low back pain, and so on. So let's do this together. I want you to get in a comfortable position. Perhaps you're sitting, perhaps you're standing, perhaps you're lying on your back. However you feel comfortable. Let's get in that position and let's place one hand on our chest and one hand low on our belly. What I want you to do is to shut your eyes and just breathe. Don't think too hard, just take a few breaths in and out, and let me know in the comments if you want, what hand did you feel moving more? Did you feel your chest rising and falling as you breathed in and out, or did you feel the hand on your belly rising and falling as you took those inhales and exhales? Let's try to see if we can send more air into our belly. Let's see if we can really fill our belly with air. First up, if you're wearing high-rise leggings and they're a little bit tight or compressive, I want you to roll those down. I want you to let your belly go. We really need our belly to let go, unclench, and be really soft so we can fill it with air. We need our diaphragm to be able to move well and allow the belly to fill with air. So let's do this. Roll down those tight leggings. Really consciously let your belly go. No one's here, no one's watching. You don't have to suck it in. And now let's breathe in through our nose really, really slow. And out through our mouth. Repeat that a few times, and I want you to really focus on feeling the belly swell as you inhale. Like a balloon. You're inflating as you breathe in, and that balloon is deflating as you breathe out. Now, some of you may find that the opposite action is happening in your belly, that as you breathe in, your belly is actually sucking in, and as you breathe out, your belly's getting big. That's kind of an opposite or a paradoxical breathing pattern, and that could be something that you take away from this challenge and you practice to try to get your belly to fill with air as you inhale and empty as you exhale. Now that we've focused a little bit on getting that air into the belly, maybe some of us have felt that belly feel a little bit better. Let's see if we can feel our rib cage move or open as we breathe in. Now our diaphragm sits under our ribs, remember? So in order for that diaphragm to move down, we really do need the ribs to move as well in order to allow that diaphragm to lower. Now our ribs need to open in all the directions, all the way around, like 360 degrees. We can't put our hands all over our ribs all at the same time, so let's focus on just the sides for right now. You can keep one hand on your belly and place one hand on the side of your ribs. And now I want you to breathe in, feeling that belly fill with air, but also, can you feel your rib cage open out to the side? Breathing in, breathing out. Trying to keep your chest and your shoulders a little bit quiet. Breathing into the belly, rib cage open, breathing out. Rib cage closes, belly lets go of all that air. Try a few more like that at your own pace. Seeing if you can inhale and feel that rib cage open, feel the belly fill with air, and exhale, feel the rib cage close and the belly deflate. And the last little piece that we're going to think about with respect to how we're going to breathe diaphragmatically is what's going on down there. I want you to imagine or feel or just think about your pelvic floor letting go. So if you're clenching, if you're holding tension down there, let it go. Now keep that softness in your pelvic floor as you try a few more breaths. Placing your hands wherever on your body feels good for you. Maybe your belly and your ribs, maybe your belly and your chest, or maybe two hands on your rib cage. And just take a few more breaths in, feeling your rib cage open, belly fill, pelvic floor relax, and breathe out. In, rib cage opens, belly fills, pelvic floor lets go, and out. Amazing job. Now, my challenge to you is to check in on your body and your breathing every hour. I want you to try to let things go once an hour. I want you to let your belly go. I want you to let your pelvic floor go. You're going to unclench all the things. And you're going to take 3 deep diaphragmatic breaths, feeling the rib cage open, the belly fill, and the pelvic floor let go every single hour. Maybe you're going to set an alarm on your phone. Maybe you're going to put it into your calendar. But I want you to check in on your body, your breathing every hour. 3 diaphragmatic breaths and unclenching all the things. You're going to feel really, really good once you complete this challenge. So there we have it. That's day 1, all about a little intro to the pelvic floor and how to breathe diaphragmatically. I'm so excited that you stayed to the end of this video and you're going to complete day 1 of this challenge. And I'm even more excited to see you for day 2 tomorrow. Definitely subscribe to my channel so you get a little notification when the next video comes out. Leave me a comment, tell me how it went, and join the fun on Instagram at Box Wellness Co. if you're doing this challenge in real time. The whole community there is doing the challenge too, so be sure to head over there. And until tomorrow, have a really great day.